Kathryn Russ, and I'm a producer here at Opry Entertainment Group, and we provide programming for Circle TV. A few of the shows that I produce are Better Half, Upstream with Elizabeth Cook, Before I was a staff person here at Opry Entertainment Group, I worked freelance, co-produced CMT Crossroads and The Marty Stewart Show, among other shows. So basically what I want to show you today is how to produce a basic interview. So I want to keep it really simple, and I want to walk you through the steps of the best way to do that. And I'm here today with our director of photography, Patrick, who you'll see in the B-roll, and Aaron Brick, who is an associate producer and producer himself. He's going to step in and he's going to pretend he's talent. So before you turn on lights and get the cameras rolling, this is some of the stuff that you need to do to prep before your interview. So first of all, do your homework. If you're going to sit in front of an artist, you want to know as much about them in advance. There's nothing worse than being unprepared. Artists are interviewed by different people every week, and you don't want to fall short. As you research artists' social media sites, Wikipedia, and YouTube, start to write your interview questions. Think about what you're curious about, the topics that haven't been asked before. I also like to watch other interviews to get a feel for an artist's personality before we meet. We're going to go back in time. Tell me about where you grew up and what was growing up in Chattanooga like. When you write your questions, think about the answers and make sure you cover the beginning, middle, and end of the story.
So I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
This question isn't rocket science, but it will give my story a starting place.
So I grew up in Antioch, Tennessee, which is Nashville, Tennessee.
So I grew up in a little town called Covington, Georgia, about an hour east of Atlanta.
The middle question would be about things happening currently, and the close would cover how things are now or where they hope to go in the future. Then you add more colorful questions in between. For the audience that may not know you, tell me some of your career highlights.
Well, I'm probably best known for Will and Grace. I've done a whole lot of American Horror Stories for Ryan Murphy over the years. He's used me and, oh gosh, he loves to murder me. I'm a working actor.
When you sit down as a producer, you have a matching stools, so you're the same height, so that your subject's eyeline, when they look at you, they're not looking up. If I was sitting higher, they'd be looking up, and if I was sitting too low, their eyeline would be down. So you want your seat height to be the same, so Aaron's eyeline matches mine. For an interview, I like to have two cameras, one for close-up and one for wide. You can use one person and have the cameras on tripods and lock the wide shot waist up, and the tight shot is manned by a camera person. The two shots give me somewhere else to go in an edit, so I can remove ums and content that isn't furthering the story and cut to the opposite camera. So once talent arrives, there'll be an audio person that will put a mic on them. Today we have a boom. Tell me about some of your early troubles and describe your lifestyle.
Around 14 or 13 and a half, 14 years old, I caught my first criminal charge.
The camera person will light the artist in the interview location. It needs to be flattering. If there's a weird shadow under their eyes or chin, ask the DP, which is the director of photography, to adjust the light. For an interview, generally they don't look directly into the lens. They need to look to the side of the camera at you, the producer. Ask them to look at you versus the lens when they answer their question. So now you're going to look at me instead of the lens, and if you could rephrase my question and your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
You could rephrase my question and your answer. What that means is they're not going to hear me at home, so I want the audience to know what I'm talking about. So if I was going to say, what's your favorite color? You wouldn't just answer blue. You'd say,
my favorite color is maroon.
Excellent. And if you could rephrase my question and your answer.
Oh, okay.
They're not going to hear my question. Tell me, where did you grow up?
Peoria, Arizona.
Okay, so now
Mistake.
he did not rephrase my question in his answer, so you have no idea what he's talking about. He could be talking about anything about Peoria.
That was completely unintentional too, which shows you I don't sit in this chair often. Okay, I'm good.
So basically, now I want you to rephrase my question and your answer. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Peoria, Arizona.
Perfect. You're going to perform Black Myself here. Tell me about Black Myself. And it's like a history lesson.
There were societies called brown societies that if you were darker than a paper bag, you couldn't be allowed in. So the line in the song, I don't pass the test of the paper bag because I'm black myself.
Remember to listen to what's being said, so slow down and do follow-up questions to learn more. This is something you can practice with friends. Everyone likes a good listener. If you seem engaged and curious, the interview will go well. After the interview, get all your media ready for edit. Every editor loves a paper cut. As a producer, you researched your subject and interviewed them so you have the full picture of how the story should be told. So give your editor all the tools they need to make the edit its best. Run the MOV or interview media through a transcription service like the one we use called Temi. This will transcribe what was said, and then you can highlight and reorder their sound bites to make a compelling story. You can cut and paste the best sound bites together. This is called a paper cut. It's also nice to ask the artist managers for photos that will enhance the story. If the artist has new music out, an obvious choice is an album cover. When they talk about growing up, photos of their family, etc. Or if they talk about the location you happen to be shooting in, shoot plenty of B-roll to cover what they say. B-roll is footage used to paste over the talking head.
They can put it, they just put it all together, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this is wonderful.
Also in an edit, the placement of music is really critical. The importance of sound design can never be overstated.
The Ballads of the Broken album was kind of my introduction to doing stuff outside of complete hip-hop.
After the editor spends time on your paper cut, you review their work and make tweaks. Even some of the best laid plans don't work out and you need to shuffle some story blocks. After you're happy with the edit, send it to the artist managers via Vimeo link for their approvals or changes. Then the cut is used on socials or Circle TV. Thank you for joining me on this simple lesson on how to produce an interview for television.